Mary had been married for quite some time, but she continued to attract admirers, both from work and those she met casually on the street. She called it simply the ability to be sociable. The young woman liked to be the center of attention of men and others who admired her. Despite her flirtations, Mary's husband, Kenneth, preferred not to notice her behavior. He was sure that her socializing was harmless and would not develop further. Moreover, he was flattered that she was attracting the attention of other men. Kenneth thought that he had a wonderful wife that many people wanted, but he was the only one who could rightfully claim her. However, everything changed when Mary began to stay late at work frequently. Concerned, Kenneth decided to surprise her at the office when she was once again late. What he witnessed did not please him. Mary was standing at her desk when some man approached her from behind and began to pull down her skirt. "Hello, darling. I wanted to surprise you," he said. The girl began to weakly excuse herself. "Honey, it's not what you think." "Really? Perhaps you and your coworker were just tired from working on the quarterly report and needed a break?" "Ah, it's such a warm-up you have," and he turned to the stranger. "Didn't your parents teach you that touching other people's stuff is inappropriate?" Kenneth tried his best to contain his anger, but seeing the fear in the guy's eyes, he decided not to confront him. He muttered something under his breath and quickly walked away with the leather briefcase. Mary, who had watched her admirer flee, blushed with embarrassment. "You won't get away with this. There will be consequences. I don't know what they are yet. It seems like you're always trying to show how cool you are, but I'm beginning to doubt that. Your behavior is disgusting, and you crossed the line today," Kenneth stated before walking out of the office. Mary followed her husband with a heavy heart, keeping her head down. At that moment, she resembled a pathetic, abandoned kitten, lacking her usual confidence and charm. There was a lack of communication in their family. Everyone was busy with their own affairs. Mary blocked out all of her many admirers. She was not on a joke, afraid that Kenneth will leave her. The girl loved her husband, although she allowed herself some liberties in relations with the opposite sex. As they were getting ready for bed, Mary suddenly remembered how her mother was looking forward to their weekend visit. "Kenneth, dear, why don't we go visit Mom?" she asked guiltily. "We will. It would be wrong to disappoint her. I love you so much. I promise to refrain from further flirtations with boys," Mary assured him, trying to calm his fears. Kenneth gently removed her hand. "Let's go to bed. I have a busy day ahead of me tomorrow." By the end of the weekend, they had made up. Arriving at their mother's house, they were in high spirits. "Hi, Mom." Mary greeted her mother by kissing her on the cheek. "Greetings, my dears." The mother-in-law hugged her daughter warmly, and then her son-in-law. He handed her a small cake. Anna accepted the innkeeper's and went with him to the kitchen. "Wash your hands and to the table," she said on her way out. Mary did not go, and Kenneth obediently headed for the bathroom. Right in front of Kenneth, a pair of oversized panties was hanging on the dryer. Suddenly, Mary entered the bathroom and asked loudly, "Mommy, why are you hanging underwear there?" "It's inappropriate." My mother-in-law jumped up, blushing with embarrassment, and quickly took the laundry off the dryer. "Oh, I apologize. I forgot to hang it on the balcony," she explained. They then sat down at the table, drank tea, and had a long conversation about various topics. Kenneth began to look at his mother-in-law from a different perspective. She was wearing a loose robe that hid her figure, but now he knew what lay beneath. He found himself wishing he could spend more time alone with her and even indulge in fantasies. "Perhaps I should start writing novels," he pondered. "Look how much you desire everything. I've already stroked my mother-in-law several times, and in different ways," he thought. Suddenly there was the sound of fireworks outside the window, indicating a celebration. Everyone quickly got up and gathered around the window to watch. Kenneth found himself right behind his mother-in-law's back, pressing against her slightly, maybe even more than necessary. She felt it, especially below the waist. The mother-in-law froze, hesitant to make a move. The evening ended on a romantic note. They said a friendly goodbye and hug. Anna avoided looking at her son-in-law, who grinned, already planning his next move. Kenneth called his mother-in-law to see if she was free in the afternoon. She hesitated and answered vaguely, saying she planned to buy fresh vegetables at the market. Kenneth offered to go together, picking her up an hour later. "I don't feel comfortable bothering you for such a trifle," her mother-in-law objected. "Nonsense. I am glad to help you, and you are not inconveniencing me," he insisted. At the market, they strolled through the stalls, looking at the wares and shopping. I enjoy accompanying my mother-in-law to the market. It is a new and enjoyable experience for me. In the past, shopping was always boring. It feels like heaven here. My mother-in-law has such an irresistible charm that sellers, especially men, are willing to offer her goods at a considerable discount, the son-in-law thought proudly, carrying bags full of vegetables. Finished with their shopping, they headed for the car. "Anna, let's go somewhere and have coffee." "Forget about these cafes. Let's go home. I'll make coffee for you." "On the way, we'll stop at a bakery and get some cakes. I buy them often. They are incredibly delicious and, most importantly, fresh," she replied. "Okay, let's do that," the man agreed, and thought to himself, "You are as delicious as a sweet American pie." Upon reaching his mother-in-law's house, Kenneth obediently sat down beside her while she made coffee. He admired her movements, her looks, and her beautiful laugh. He found it quite charming. "Everything is ready," she announced as the tantalizing aroma of coffee filled the kitchen. They enjoyed the divine beverage and daintily savored the cakes. There was some cream left on his mother-in-law's lips, and Kenneth wiped it off with his finger and tasted it. The woman blushed with embarrassment. And that's where it all began. The son-in-law felt a sense of satisfaction. He felt a rush of warmth. His hands trembled with anticipation. The mother-in-law noticed how he was looking at her strangely and became even more embarrassed. "I'm acting like an immature person. I'm going to scare my mother-in-law to death. I have to pull myself together or I'll ruin everything." Kenneth pondered and looked away. Anna got up from the table and went to the sink to wash the cups. Her son-in-law stiffened at her mother-in-law's back, then slowly walked up behind her and hugged her. They stood like that for a while. "Don't be afraid of me." He turned his mother-in-law to face him and started kissing her gently. He did it very delicately, without any force or haste. His hands felt how the woman's tense body gradually began to relax. The mother-in-law was still wary of meeting her son-in-law's gaze, but did not resist. He put his arms around the woman and carried her into the bedroom. The mother-in-law surprised his son-in-law very much. It turned out that what they were happily doing at the moment, she was able to do perfectly, something he had never encountered before. All in all, Kenneth had set everything up with good judgment, and everything turned out just fine. His revenge on his wife had been successfully accomplished.